Hey, this is Pat, and today we're checking out a product I'm very excited about, the Alpinestars Tech-Air MX Airbag System, which is entirely new for the 2025 season. Now, we've been seeing this one in Supercross and Motocross this entire race season as it's launched in 2025. Austin Forkner's crashed in it a few times. Jordan Smith has had this go off. Even when I interviewed Jason Anderson, he was actually running sensors to help them build the algorithm for the past few years. And we've seen a lot of MXGP racers actually required to wear airbag systems now. So really cool product that we've seen in-person deploy. We've seen it on the TV deploy, and now we're physically getting to see it here. And we're actually gonna have it deploy in a little bit, but I just want to talk about, this is going to be a full airbag system for MX riders, for enduro riders, anybody out in the woods, just trail riding. It has 4 different algorithms and full airbag coverage at the front, at the back, and down the shoulders. These actually expand out, so a really cool protection system. If something like the Tech-Air off-road might just be a little too much with all the armor built in, this is going to be a much lighter rig, very comparable in weight to just a normal roost and back protector system. Like I run a Troy Lee. This is definitely noticeable when you're actually holding them up that it's a heavier system because it has a battery, it has an airbag system, it has a bladder built into it. But once you put it on, it feels exactly like every other roost and back protector. This is going to be something that I will probably see a ton of at the MX track. I'll probably start seeing it at a lot of the vet hair scrambles just because older guys tend to be the ones that get hurt the most. But I can see it in a lot of different categories, whether you're desert racing, at the MX track, or out in the woods. This is going to be something solid that can protect you. And in this video, we're going to talk about the airbag itself. We're going to talk about the physical unit itself and talk about the algorithms. But first, I want to nail down the sizing because this is where it can get a little bit confusing. Now, I have Luke on my left. He's 6'1", 190 pounds with a 39.5-inch chest. Currently wearing a size large, which is spot on with the sizing chart. But one thing I want to call out, with all the other Tech-Airs, we've really seen confusion around the sizing and which one fits best for you. There's so much stretch in the side chassis, in the actual straps on the side, that I wear a large as well with my 44-inch chest measurement. If you look at the sizing chart, I should actually be in a 2 extra large. And even here, it's a little bit looser on Luke. We had to cinch it down. He could probably go down to a medium in this. What I would recommend when it comes down to picking the right size for this is go with whatever your standard roost and back protector size is. All you're sacrificing is a little bit more of the coverage when it comes to the physical protection built into it, the actual protection, the passive protection, and the TPU and the back protector. You're just sacrificing a little bit of length there, but the extra large for me was entirely too big. I went with a size large, and I've been riding with it in the woods, and it's been just fine out here. So keep that in mind. If you're referencing the size chart, I would just recommend going with what your roost or back protector size currently is. That's going to be the best thing to get you out there and protected, because even, like I said, on Luke, there's plenty of stretch, and we have it cinched down, so there's plenty of space for the deployment. So just keep that in mind. But first, let's start talking about the physical unit itself, the physical airbag that you're looking at here. It's a little bit dirty. Again, I've been riding in this one for the past few weeks. Wanted to get out there and actually test it out. But what you'll see is you have a CE1 armor at the front for the roost guard with a polyhedron design underneath of there that's going to help impact protection when it doesn't deploy, because again, you don't want this to deploy in every scenario. If it's just a tip over, it's going to ignore those instances and keep you protected just with the normal armor you'd be wearing out there. So it is CE level 1, CE level 1 at the back, which we'll see in just a minute. But one thing I want to call out at the front, which you can really notice, is the amount of mesh and foam around the sides, just to help give it some reinforcement so it holds in place should the airbag actually deploy. And the airbag full coverage is going to be down the entire chest, up and over the shoulders, which you can see the white of the airbag popping out. It actually folds over the sleeves a little bit to protect that outer shoulder, and then there's full deployment at the back. Everything you're seeing here with the unit is going to be the airbag underneath, with the exception of the fold-out portions that cover a little bit more of the shoulders, which you'll see when we actually deploy it later on in the video. So just keep that in mind. You are getting full coverage. It's CE1 passive armor built into it, but when that airbag deploys, it's almost 90% better, 4 to 5 times better on the actual reinforcements throughout. It's going to be much higher than CE level 2 can even attain. So I like that they're using a lighter weight when it's not going to deploy. I like that they're using that airbag full coverage, so it's going to protect you in the event of an accident. TPU over top of the chest, TPU over top of the back where the brains actually sit inside of here. So one thing I'll call out before I have Luke turn to the side, you do have 2 snap buckles at the front. Those actually lock in. Really cool part is when you undo or do this left one up, that magnet inside of there is actually what turns the system on and arms it. So if you're getting up to the line, once you lock that in, it will be protecting you. It's ready to go out for the ride, and actually stays on for about 15 minutes before it goes into standby mode to save the battery. You're getting about 25 to 30 hours on the battery life itself, which was my experience when I was out there testing it. It does hold its charge pretty well. Over here on the left-hand side is actually where you charge it. This is going to be the status control bar, which we've seen on other Tech-Air systems. There is a button. You hold that down for 2 seconds. You can toggle between the 3 modes, and there's a USB-C charging port on the side. One thing I really like is they gave it a robust cover for that USB-C charging port that you plug in there to keep any debris out, because you can wear this over top of a jersey. You can wear it underneath of a jersey. You can also wear it underneath of a jacket if you were looking to maybe dual sport, but you just wanted this protection. So a lot of versatility there, but I like that they protected the components to make sure that no debris gets in there should you wear it under. Now, one thing to note, while reading the owner's manual of this Tech-Air, it does explicitly say that you should not wear a neck brace with the system. The airbag itself does deploy up on the shoulders to help hinder the head from going side to side, but we've seen that with the Tech-Air Off-Road and Dakar and FIM, that they don't want airbags and neck braces mixed in. So if you are someone that runs a neck brace, you might not want to look at an airbag system in general, unless you're looking to just replace it with the full coverage of that airbag as it deploys up over your head. One cool part over on the left-hand side is it is a 3-algorithm system. The cool part we haven't seen from any other Tech-Air systems out there is that the 3 algorithms themselves are customizable. So what we've seen from the Plasma, what we've seen from the Tech-Air Off-Road, you get 3 modes, and those are the 3 you can toggle between. With the MX version, you get an MX mode, which you can also keep in MX or MX race mode, but you can then toggle the other 2 are just customizable ports that you go in the app, change it to the enduro mode, change it to the rally mode, or add the MX race mode again into there if you want. Talking about those algorithms themselves, MX and MX Race are going to be designed for the MX track, as the name implies. Race is just a little bit more lenient on the algorithm itself, so if you don't want it to deploy in the event of smaller crashes, that would be big for me as a C-Vet rider, you can put it into the race mode in there in the app, or you can switch over to enduro or rally mode. Enduro mode for tighter woods, trail riding, rock gardens, things like that, and then rally mode is a little bit higher speed if you are doing something like the Dakar, or a higher speed enduro, or I should say rally at that point, you'd want to switch into rally mode. I was running it in enduro mode out in the woods, and it was doing just fine on not deploying, even with a tip over at low speed when I was just coming through a turn. Just put my leg out and just dropped the bike down. It didn't go off, which is exactly what I want. You only get 1 canister built into this system, so you don't want that to deploy prematurely if you're out in the middle of a race or if you have a lot more hours out on the trail. So it is a 1 cartridge system. It does deploy in 40 milliseconds, which for those of you out there, that is much faster than even a human eye can blink. That's what we've seen from Alpinestars in all of their airbag systems. The cartridge fills the entire bag once it detects there's a crash coming. And how it detects that is via a gyroscope and accelerometer, each running on 3 different axes. So you technically have 6 different axes of telemetry that it's reading every millisecond, which is really cool, about 1,000 times a second that it is going in there to double check that you're not upside down or going over the bars on the track. I've had them deploy on me. I've had them deploy out in the field, and it is something that once you realize it's inflated, it's like a surprise hug from behind. There's no really other better way to describe it, but it does fully encapsulate your upper torso with the exception of the sides on this MX version. So keep that in mind. Luke, do me a favor, go ahead and turn to the side, hit the riding position. At the sides, you'll notice the straps I talked about. We actually have them pretty cinched down over on the sides, but then it goes to the front to the single buckle system, again with the left side being the one that actually arms the system itself. You can go ahead and turn to the back. Now at the back, you'll actually see, again, more of that mesh, more of that foam reinforcements down the side, as well as the connection points for the straps, but they're using a CE Level 1 Nucleon passive back protector. Again, once you add in the airbag's deployment, you're getting up well above CE Level 2 standards for the armor itself for protection, so that's going to be covering the entire back. And if you go into bigger sizes, it does get a lot looser, but again, you get about 5 millimeters per size increase. You get a little bit longer of a back and front, so just keep that in mind. Again, I'd rather have something nice and tight fitting that is covering the main portion that doesn't bother me while I'm out there riding, but that's just me. Again, I was wearing the size large. Underneath of the airbag system is where you can actually access the unit. When you get your unit in the service manual, it actually show you how to turn it on. There's a button to turn it on if you want to turn it off for shipping, or if you're taking it onto an airplane, you can easily do that. But that is housed on the inside of it. It's 1 canister inside of there. Those canisters are about $105 to replace, and you get 6 deployments in total for the airbag itself before Alpinestars recommends replacing it, and then at the same time replacing the cartridge and just making sure the unit is entirely safe. Now with all the other ones out there that I've seen, you're typically wearing it under an abrasion layer. The MX, you're probably wearing it underneath of a jersey or over top of a jersey. So just keep in mind when the airbag at the shoulder deploys, you want to inspect the bag after each crash to make sure that it's not going to be something that has a puncture or hole in it. You can easily screw into it and pump it up. They include an adapter inside the box, but you can pump it up, make sure that it isn't leaking any air, and then go out and replace the canister, and then go out for the rest of your ride. You can go ahead and spin around to the front. One thing I will call out, because I see this a lot of people tend to take off of their Tech-Air systems, regardless of which one, immediately throw it down to the ground. It can deploy if you do that because the system needs to power down before it does. As someone who goes to the MX track, when you get done a long moto, or if you're getting done a hare scramble race, a lot of guys will rip off their armor and just chuck it down to the ground. Just be careful. You'll actually physically feel, Luke, do me a favor and just unhook that left side. You'll actually physically feel it vibrate to let you know that it is powering off, which Luke's going through right now. And then if you plug it back in, it will go ahead and power back on. So just give it a half a beat before you take it off. But that's something that you can keep in mind just to avoid an accidental deployment when you're just throwing it down at the end of a moto if you're just exhausted. You can fully wash the unit. There are instructions in the service manual to go ahead and remove all the internal components that are delicate to water, and then you can go ahead and go in and wash it with like gentle soap and just hand washing to get any of that debris. You can actually see I was wearing this externally, as you'll see in all the B-roll footage that we're using in this one, and you can see it started to yellow a little bit around the edge, which is classic for anything white off-road. If it's dusty, it's going to start turning it, so if you do need to wash it, you do have that availability to remove everything and make sure nothing in there is going to get damaged. So now we've come to what is my favorite time of the video, because it's not me that is actually having this deployed. This is Luke's first time having an airbag deployed on him. So as you can see, there's a lot of coverage at the chest, at the shoulders, around the neck, and down the back with this as it deploys. And it's going to be something that really protects you out there. And honestly, considering it weighs, when you physically pick up this Tech-Air MX next to just a regular roost and back protector, it does weigh a lot more than the original unit. Not by much, but you're talking a couple pounds, which is everything when you're out there racing. But once you put it on your body, it really holds its weight very well. In fact, after 5 minutes, I didn't even realize it wasn't my normal Troy Lee D30 back protector. It just felt like every other roost and back protector that I've worn out there. So keep that in mind. It does add a little bit of weight, but for the coverage that you're getting, considering this is going to be under that $700 price point, you're getting full coverage in one of the most dangerous sectors of motorcycling, because most of us dirt riders have a pretty gnarly crash each ride. At least I do. I'm not going to talk about your skill levels. I know Luke certainly does every time we go out riding. So you get that protection. As you're getting a little bit more protection, you can ride a little bit faster. So again, these are just little advantages that you're getting for something you're already going to be wearing. So you might as well bump up into giving you something with a brain that is going to be actually processing all of your algorithms, all of your accesses, and making sure that if you're going OTB or over the bars, you're going to be protected when you come down on the ground. I know I wish I would have had this a few weeks ago when I cracked a few ribs at Field of Dreams in New Jersey. I would have loved to be wearing this one, especially considering you don't notice that it's not just a normal back protector. But if you have more questions on the all-new Tech-Air MX, or if you have anything for us, you can always go over to our product page. You can read other rider reviews. Don't just take my word for it. This is something that Austin Faulkner swears by, Jordan Smith swears by, as well as Jason Anderson has been working with Alpinestars for years to get these in there. So don't just take our word for it. Look into what other people are saying as well. If you still have questions after that, you're confused, maybe this one or the Plasma or the off-road, which was right for you and your riding style, give our customer service agents a call. They're all riders, happy to help you get set up on your next ride. I want to thank you for joining Luke and I in checking out the Alpinestars Tech-Air MX Airbag. I'm Pat, and I'll see you in the next video.